This is one of the most common issues that I have to deal with when I'm talking with and helping subject matter experts or technical experts who are going to present in a webinar. The tone spectrum is simply this. Uh, you never want to be selling from your heels. I'll explain that in a second. You also, of course, never want to be aggressive. First of all, I find that it's very rare for technical experts, senior scientists, that kind of stuff, to come off as aggressive. It's just not their personality, and that's great because nobody should ever be on that end of the spectrum. Where they need to live is in the smallest part of the whole thing, which is assertive. Assertive does not mean that you're aggressive. It means that there are some things that you accept as true and you're willing to stand on them and base your approach on them. That you're willing to say in simple declarative sentences, this is true, this works, this is good, something like that. Now, on the far end of the spectrum is selling from your heels. Selling from your heels is a sales concept, a sales term. Imagine that someone is trying to persuade you of something. They're looking, in person, and they're looking you straight in the eye, like in a store or a car dealership or something. But at the same time, they're subtly but noticeably moving away from you, like they're backing up. No one is ever persuaded, no matter how powerful the words might be. No one is ever persuaded by someone who is clearly trying to get away from them. So selling from your heels literally means you're leaning away because you're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of taking a stand. You're afraid of getting pushback from anybody. You can't be selling from your heels. One of the most common ways that you see selling from your heels in a business webinar is that the person who's speaking will open or make a statement that tells you what they're not. And they want to make it clear that you know that they're not something. Like someone will say, I'll tell you up front, like, I am not from sales, or I'm definitely not on the marketing side of the business, or I'm not in management, I'm not making decisions. And you would think, okay, this is going to endear you to the audience as a speaker, and it really doesn't. What it does is it tells the audience that there's an excellent chance that you and what you're about to talk about are not worth my time investment or attention investment or emotional investment, because you're not even sure that this is going to be valuable. And if anyone in the first few minutes is supposed to know that the content's valuable, it's the speaker. So that's an example of selling from your heels in a webinar scenario, especially for sort of expert or technical speakers. Now, you will spend some of your time, sure, in the objective, nuanced part of the spectrum. This is basically the equivalent of the informational level of the 3 levels of messaging that are in the other lesson. And this is where, like, it's okay to admit that a competitor, does a good job at ABC feature, or the industry generally has moved away from X, but we still think it's valuable in our product because of something, right? You're showing that you can see the other side of an argument. You cannot, however, stay in that mode for the whole time. The audience's attention, the audience emotionally, they need something to hold on to. They need a handle. They need a rung on the ladder. They need something that they can grab. They need to walk out of that room or away from that session knowing, okay, in that company, they say 1 and 2 and 3. Like, that's who they are. That's what they're doing. That's what they believe in. That's what they're building. They need the certainty that comes with the assertive tone. So you can spend some time in the nuanced objective tone, but you can't spend all your time there. You must have points where you're in the assertive part of the spectrum.